presentation. So it's just starting to record. So our session today is focused on creating Google Slides. I am going to switch over my way of presenting just for a little second, and I will share an entire screen so that you can see everything that I am doing. So as always, just in case you have not joined the classrooms, yes, I'm recovering from 2 training sessions yesterday. That took it out of me. Just in case you haven't joined the 2 classrooms, the codes are on the screen at the moment. Jot them down. You don't really need it for today. All of the stuff, I've not put any of the materials in Classroom, so you're able to work away without it. But the Classroom is there if you have any questions following the session, if you want to share what you have done following any of the previous sessions. It's been quite nice to see some people talking about how they've used some of the tools already, and I'm seeing that in the chat already this morning. So let's get going. So Google Slides is what I use at the moment. You'll see them every single session. And yes, you can also turn off your camera. So Google Slides is what I use every morning to present my screen, to do that countdown timer, to introduce the session. And I must say it's my absolute favorite one. It's probably my most used. I use it, I'd say, more than Docs for creating resources. And I'll talk through the why and how we can do that today. So like last week, when I spoke about this shortcut for Google Docs, we have the shortcut for Google Slides to create a new Google Slides deck. And that shortcut is slide.new. So you can type that into the browser where we would normally type in Google, and that would allow us to create a brand new slide deck. Another way to create new Google Slides is to go to the waffle, the 9 tiles in Google, and open that up and open Slides. And from here, we can then create the blank, or you'll also see there's some templates in the gallery that you can use. So there's some ones for flashcards. You might want to just go in and edit those without having to play about with the formatting too much. And there's other ones like book reports. And you can go into this template gallery and you can see one that's already shared with, if you're in your own organization, for example, EduBuzz, or in the general one, there's an awful lot of slides that you can actually go in and just start to edit without having to worry too much about formatting if you're not too comfortable with that. But creating a blank slide allows us to create this brand new one. Or if we go into our Google Drive, if you want to create it in a specific folder, let me just load this up. It always takes a wee minute. And if I go into the test drive that I've got here, I can click on New and Google Slides, and then that will create that slide deck in that folder. So there's a few ways, but the one I always use is slide.new, just because, as you saw on Friday, my Google Drive is not the most organized. I don't tend to create things in the folders. I'll just close these. So that creates this brand new slide deck. Now, I must say I never use these text boxes that come up on the slides straight away. I like to change it all and play about with it myself rather than actually going with what the slide deck tells me to do. But you're more than welcome to just go in, create your title and subtitle. That's probably what we're most used to with the PowerPoint format as well. Down the side, when we first load up a blank Google slide, is the themes. Now, on Thursday, when we go into Explore in Google Slides and Docs, I'll talk about a different way of doing the themes, but for today, this is what we're going to focus on. So we've got the simple, or you can go through, and these are all very nice. I do quite like these in comparison to other ones. I've just got my phone alarm going off for some bizarre reason. And yes, so you'll see all of these different slide themes. This yellow and blue one's probably my least favorite. It's a bit too bright. So I'm going to close that because I'm not going to use those this morning. I'm going to show you how to create your own. And I've shown some people this previously for how to create documents. I showed a bit of this yesterday at the end of the session. It wasn't recorded though, just on how to create an image and put it in the background. So I'll talk through that today as well. So I'm going to delete these text boxes. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of something with the page setup. So this is something I tend to do quite regularly. I use Google Slides to make my own PDFs, to make different task sheets, to make infographics as well. So I use slides for all of these things. I did mention in the Google Docs sessions last week that if you are to use lots of text boxes, you're best to do that work in slides, simply because in Google Docs, the text boxes are a little bit funny. Let's get some more joining, which is fantastic. So the page setup is where we can change if the page is landscape, portrait. We can also change it completely and customize it. So we could make it a custom size. And then this is where I'm very sad, and I know the dimensions of an A4 piece of paper off by heart and centimeters. So I'm going to make mine a landscape piece of paper, and that's 21 by 29.7 centimeters if you really want to do this as well. This is all recorded, of course. So if you do forget this, don't worry, or as I did, just Google what the width of an A4 piece of paper is. Then you can select apply, and you'll see that's changed the way that slide looks on my screen. So that's completely sorted now. I have got my A4 bit of paper. I would always say, if you are to create a task in Google Slides, sort out the width of the slide first, because if you sort that out at the end, it can distort some of your pictures a bit too much than if you do it at the start. So you may then have to go and fix all the things you just put into it. So if we do that first, we don't have to worry about it. I haven't even named this yet, so I'm going to give this a name. I'm just going to pop the date. I always have to check my computer to see what the date is. And I'm just going to pop the date in there for test. Next thing to talk through on Google Slides is this menu along the top here. So if I just zoom in so you can see this a bit more clearly, we have our file. Now this is where I spoke about with Google Docs. Some of you were saying it's quite tricky trying to get the workaround when you are used to going save as in an offline version to make a copy of it or to create a different one. But in file, this is where we can make a copy. Now in Google Slides, the difference here is that we can make a copy of selected slides or the entire thing. So we could just make a copy of a couple of the slides in the presentation, or we can do the entire thing. So there's a couple of options there. We can also download. So this is where you could download it as a PowerPoint. So you could, if you are to be emailing this to colleagues who you know aren't using G Suite, or if it's maybe to go into senior leadership or to share with others elsewhere, you can download it as a PowerPoint. And what I use most of all is downloading it as a PDF. And that just means that when you share it, people can't change what's on that slide. It's just there, it's not editable, and you know it's going to be how you wanted it to be shared. Or I also use the 2 image versions, and this is what I will show for creating your own background. So if we're creating an activity, you will download things as an image to then use that as the background, and I'm going to focus on that next. So downloading as a PowerPoint or PDF, would that change the format? That's a question that's just come in, and I would say PowerPoint perhaps. It doesn't tend to change it too much, but downloading it as a PDF, the formatting won't change because you are basically downloading it as it looks. So it will download, if you have 4 slides that are all A4 size, it'll download in that way. Or if you download it as the widescreen as it comes as standard, it will just look like you're scrolling through a presentation. And I'll show you that later on, once I've got a bit more in my presentation. Like Google Docs, we also have the version history where we can see this, and we can see what the version looks like. So you can see it when it was a brand new document here, and you can see what it looks like now. And another thing in the file, and that's where I did the page setup. So just making sure that you're aware that that page setup is in file. I don't really use the edit one too often, and the view is where we can present the slide, but you can see this massive button at the top here for presenting. So I never really go into view either. The next one that I go into, let me just come out of this. I won't show that today. That's a bit more technical, is this insert. And this is where I'm going to focus the next bit of this training, is around this insert menu. So the insert is where we can get images from our computer and upload them. We could upload them from the web, or we can access from our Google Drive, or if you have a web link, you can use that there, or you can use your laptop camera. So if you wanted to be in it, you could do that as well. This is where we can also get text boxes, but you'll see that option here along with image. So I do tend to go to insert because my head works in, I'm inserting a picture, I'll go to insert and do that, but there is a shortcut just on this little menu along here. And you can also insert audio, and there are some extensions you can get on Chromebooks for recording audio. You can find them on the web store. I'll leave it up to you to find. The ones I've looked at recently, to be honest, don't have the best of reviews. You may also have ones that are on your phone. Some of you may have voice memos. You could upload that to your Google Drive and then pop that into your slide deck. So some people have asked me if they're recording and reading a story, how might they share that with their students? And you could do that either as a video or as audio and put that into the slide deck. So you'll see those two options here. If you don't want to be in the picture or in the video, you could simply record the video over, say, like a blank picture or just holding the book up. But to be honest, likely if you're only sharing it in a slide deck, it'll just be your students who are viewing it. It's not going to be on YouTube or anything. And then you can see the other things, so shape and diagram, etc. But the main one I'm going to show you is this image. So I'm going to start off with creating my template that I want to share on Google Classroom. And what I am going to do to begin with is I'm going to change this slide so it's exactly how I want it to look for the student. So I'm going to use this line tool and I'm going to do a spelling activity. Now this isn't going to be absolutely exact because obviously I'm doing this quite quickly, and I am going to make boxes. So I want them to do a vocabulary activity. These lines probably aren't straight, to be honest. And I'm just going to make these lines a bit wider so they're a bit easier for students to see them. Go to 16 point. You'll see these are the line tools along here. So we've got the pencil, that's where we can change the color. And you'll also see that if it's an outline, you'll see a pencil. If it's a fill tool, which you'll see shortly, it's a bucket for the fill tool. And I can change the color of this. I could change this here to make this as a nice box. So nice boxes for students. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a text box. So I just clicked on this text box T here. You'll see that in there. And that allows me to draw. Now it's not letting me zoom out. And that allows me to draw the text box in, so I can choose the size of it. And as always, if we click on the text box, we can change the size using these corners. I always recommend that we use the corners to resize a picture or a text box simply because it doesn't distort it too much. It doesn't really matter for text boxes, but certainly for images it does. Now I can click on this bucket tool that I just mentioned for the fill color. I'm going to make it white so I can't see that middle cross line. And then I'm going to do the outline, and I'll do that in red as well. So I've now got this format. So I can now type in here. I could type in the word that I want the students to use. Or I might type in a writing plan. So it could be that in each section, they are going to plan out the adjectives, the setting, all of this for their actual story writing. And then I am going to just kind of structure how this will look for the students. So I will do some adjectives. I'm aware this font is tiny. Let me just make that a bit bigger. Bigger than that, and bold. And then I can copy and paste. So if you copy and paste the text boxes, it saves you having to do them over and over again. I just click on the outside so you don't have that flashing cursor. And then the shortcut for copying is Control and C to copy. and then Control and V to paste. And now I can pop these where I'd like them to go, then edit the text. And you'll see I'm getting all these funny blue lines round about, and that's just showing me that it's spaced out correctly. I can do setting, characters. Oh, can't spell today. I'll just do plot. This is honestly me raking my brain for any ideas at the moment. And I'm just going to align these to the side just to make it look a bit better. So that is my writing template, my plan. I'll make that bold. But students can come in here and move all of this, which we don't want, because that can just make it a bit messy. It can make it a bit more frustrating for them to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and then I'm going to download this as an image. And it doesn't matter which one you choose. If you choose JPEG or PNG, they both have image next to them. So long as you choose one of the image versions, that is okay. So I'll just choose PNG, and then you'll see it's downloading down to the bottom here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, because I mean, you could use this same slide deck, but I'm going to keep this as my master copy. And now I'm going to make a copy of this document. And then I'll just do this as the task. So you can rename it. And then I'm going to make this the task. And this just saves me having to do that page setup again. And I will say it is a bit fiddly, but my goodness, it saves you a lot of hassle with students deleting things that you wanted. So it is worth doing. Now I've got all of that stuff in here again. I'm going to see how I drew that box around that slide there. That selects everything. If I draw that box around it, selects everything, then I'm just going to delete it. So it's gone. But now what I'm going to do, and this is what saves us from having all of our work that we've put in there disappear, or students moving things, and that nice cross that we spent ages lining up, and that grid box moving about and looking a bit messy, we can go into background. So this is just along the top here, and this is where we can change the background of our slide. I'm going to select background and choose image. And this is where I'm going to choose that picture that I have just downloaded as my new background. If I choose image, and now I've got it here downloaded. I'm working on a PC. If you're working on a Chromebook, you will need to go into File and your downloads to access this. If you're working on an HP laptop or your own personal device and your downloads go here, you can simply click on it and drag it into here. And you'll see how it goes nice and blue to make it obvious that we've managed to drag it in. That will load. And now I can select done. It is quite amazing. I watched a YouTube tutorial on this last week and thought, why have I not been doing this forever? So now I can't move anything. See, stuck. Nothing's going to move. My lines aren't moving. It is there. Okay. So this isn't going to be edited by the students. This is stuck in place. So now we can start to create the task, okay? Now this will work if you have a picture that you want to put in. If you want students to fill in the blanks, you could have the text there with the blanks and then put the text box where you want the blanks to be. And students won't be able to edit the other text. They're only editing your text boxes. And you can also have it so that you have a picture in the background. I was creating one as an example for inferencing, and you could have the picture, you could have the question all in that background, and then just a place for the student to type. So you're not then having to hope that the students are going to delete something by accident. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert some text boxes, and the best thing to do here is make sure they're the right size. So just edit them to fit. And again, what I'm going to do here, instead of typing in what I want them to do, I'm going to make the font a bit bigger. And what I will do actually is I'll just zoom in a little bit for you. So in here, I'm now going to do enter text. And I'll copy and paste this, and I'll zoom out again. So I'll copy and paste this using my same shortcut. I don't have that flashing cursor. And then I can pop these in each of the boxes so that students can go in and they know where they're writing, and then that work can be shared in Google Classroom. Any questions, pop them in. You're welcome to use this time to go and try this. I'm sure some of you may have been giving this a go in the background, but you are welcome to go and spend a little minute just trying this out. I will type in the chat at the side. So it's 21 by 29.7 for landscape. And I'll pop that in the chat just so you've got that, those measurements for that. And then what I can do with this, so if I know a student may struggle to access this on the computer, I could download this as a PDF, obviously without the, if you were using this in your classroom, for example, you could do this without the text boxes and then download it as a PDF. I'll just show you what that looks like. And you'll see it's got that there, I can't edit it. Or I can download it as a PowerPoint. So if I know students maybe struggle to access things online all of the time, it may be that they have PowerPoint on a computer, they can access this. Just quickly download it so they're not spending all the time on the internet. Download it as a PowerPoint, it will download here. And you'll see the formatting shouldn't have changed because that is in the background. So here you'll see this is PowerPoint. The only things I can move are the text boxes I want to edit. So that's it in PowerPoint. You'll see the background, it has stayed the same as that's a picture. Just close that. And you can also share this. So if I go into a classroom to set this as a task now, I'll go into my demo classroom, into classwork, and I will create an assignment. And slides example. And I will add this from my Google Drive. It's the most recent thing I've worked on. Add and then make a copy for each student. And then I can assign that or schedule that. Obviously, make sure that our instructions are clear. They're consistent with other instructions that you give out, but that is a handy way to use slides in your classroom. So you're welcome to give that a go. You're welcome to go and try that, putting in images as well and putting them into the background. Just to go through that one more time, I've got my background. If I had this as a picture, insert an image, I can search the web. So I always go puppy, that's always my go-to. And pop in the picture. And let me just pop that into place. I go File, Download, choose one of the image versions, either works. And then I go Make a Copy. And OK. This is where you would rename it to give it the name of the task you're about to share with your students. I delete everything out of it by drawing that big box around my slides. Then I do the background, choose an image, and I click and drag, or I upload from my computer. So you can choose that upload and search your files, and then done. So there's that picture in as well. I can no longer move that picture. It's stuck. So if you are creating tasks with question and answer, you could have all your questions stuck there in the background for students to use. So I'll allow you to go and have a good play about with that. As always, any questions in the chat. I don't want to do too much. If you do create something and you want to share it in the classroom, in the Techie Tea Party classroom, whether it's the East Lothian or the Mid Lothian one, let me just find classes. You could get the shareable link, so you could share it. That's the wrong one, that one. Let me share this one. Click share, get shareable link. This is another way you could share it with your colleagues if you want to share resources. I deleted everything so that I could then put the image in the background. So it just saved me having to go and create a new slide with the same page size. So if I delete everything here, not doing that one. Hang on. If I delete everything out of this one, I can now add that same image into the background. And now I can't edit it, but you need to get rid of all the text boxes because they're the things that can be edited. And then, yep, click on share, get that shareable link, and then you're welcome to just pop that into the classroom and just copy and paste that in and post. Okay, so I'll give you this time to try that out. As always, in any of the questions, and if the image dragging thing is not working, what to do? If you have gone file, download, and you've got the picture, if you want to change the background, choose image, select browse, and then you'll be able to browse your files, and it should be in downloads. This computer is a bit funny for choosing them. Downloads, and it should be one of the most recent things at the top there. If you're on a Chromebook, you would need to go into files, and to find files, you hit the button that's usually where caps lock is and search files, and it's a blue folder icon. Pick that and then drag it in over the top there, or you can just browse the files and browse the downloads as well. So yeah, I'll show you how I'm dragging that. I'm just going to hide this little bar. So I've got all my downloads appear along the bottom of the browser here. I choose the one that I want and I click on it. I hold on and I drag it till this bit changes. And I let go, and then it will load straight away. So you'll see that cloud. Sometimes, depending on your internet, it might take a little minute to load. And then I just hit done. And then that's it done. And now I can't change or select any of that. And making a copy. So someone's just asked why you would make a copy. You don't have to. You can do it all in that one, but it may be easier for you to go and edit that master copy if you want to do similar tasks again in the future, rather than going and redoing the entire thing and redoing the whole grid. So making a copy just means that that's the one that you're going to share. But what you are going to do is, if you were to create it each time, it may just take a bit longer than if you had that master copy that you went and just changed the text boxes, for example, change the layout or change the color. Okay, so I'm just dragging from the bottom. If it is in your files, I could go in, open up my documents here, downloads, and then I can drag it from my documents. So let's not do that. Drag that one file over as well. So I could open up my documents over the top and then drag the file from it into there. So if you want to get rid of the boxes on an existing slide, so you can adapt the size on a blank slide, you just click on them to delete them. I'm going to stop recording at the moment, so I'll just stop that